Hello, Irene. Hello, Monica. Good evening. Welcome to the classroom. Could you please let me know if you can hear me properly and if the sound is okay? Shall I speak louder or maybe everything is fine already? Please let me know. I'm just gonna type you also. Okay, perfect. Monica, you can hear me? All right. All right. So, Irene, could you please confirm as well that you can hear me? But at least already there is a high probability that everything is fine. Great. So we, again, I don't know how many people is going to be. As always, there are quite a crowd registered for a webinar, but when it comes to really invest hour of your time, probably it's a little bit more difficult. Yeah, I think it's supposed to be 25 people today, but anyway, so let's move on. I just started recording, so it's time anyway. And if someone will join us, that's fine. If not, doesn't matter. We are gonna go through material. Okay, perfect. You can hear me. Perfect, Ren. So today, yeah, let's move on. I believe change cycle and the consequence reframing pattern. Well, as I mentioned before, we'll be going totally through 14 different reframing patterns. And I think you both, Irene and Monica, you attended a previous webinar, so we touched and we went through first two reframing patterns. We even kind of saw the application of those patterns in real process. Do you remember those patterns? If you remember the name of those patterns, could you please type? I'm just curious if you can recall the names of patterns which we already covered in a previous session. I just give you a hint that there were two different patterns which we already discussed. We applied those patterns in the process which called chaining beliefs process, four-step chaining. If you do remember, could you please type? If not, it's totally okay to type I don't remember, or I just want you to at least try. Don't remember. Perfect. That's okay, Monica. I mean, everything requires repetitions and not just one, multiple ones. Well, okay, so Irene it seems like not typing either. Well, we covered and we will be going through that again and again. I would say, touched. That's why we organized the Headway lab environment where you could practice and practice and practice, because even if you read something or heard about something for the first time, and even you heard several times, it's not really enough to be fluent in that. So positive intention reframing pattern and redefine reframing pattern. Those two patterns we already kind of, I would say, touched. But don't worry if you don't remember even what is it. We are going to be going through that again and again, multiple times. Just more or less kind of try to remember the names. Yeah, positive intention and redefine. And today we are going to add one more, consequence pattern. But before that, I would like to talk about belief change cycle, because last webinar, it's supposed to be kind of covered, but you know, as always, I'm not very strict with the timing during webinars, because if I think that it makes sense to dive more into a certain particular area, I know that there will be multiple webinars anyway, so I'm kind of very fluent in terms of, and flexible, I would say, yeah, in terms of what to cover, because I know that we are going to cover anyway everything. Yeah? Okay, so belief change cycle. First of all, as usual, let's go through our procedure. First of all, the whole topic, like what I just mentioned, it's a subtopic, but it belongs to the bigger topic, conversational reframing and coaching. I'm sure you do remember what reframing is. Yeah, it's in a way it's change the position or perception or point of view. Usually that's what exactly we are kind of trying to accomplish with our clients, because when client approach you as a coach and he has a problem, usually he is very limited. He or her, the client is very limited in his options, so he probably struggle with finding solutions or reaching their goals or whatever. And reframing, it's an extremely powerful technique which eventually we end up helping client by widening his perceptual point. And as a result, he has, I would say, enriched options to act. He has multiple other additional pieces of information. Maybe he discovered some blind spots. Maybe you help your client to change, and get rid of some limiting beliefs, or shift those limiting beliefs and substitute them for more positive and more empowering beliefs. In any way, what happens really is the change of frame. It's literally, if you imagine some shot, so if you have a tiny small frame, maybe you could see just piece of the picture. But if you change the frame for bigger, then you see, wow, so many additional details. It gives you more information. So that's exactly what happens during coaching sessions if you are successful. Erika, good evening. Welcome to the classroom. So we are already in the process. So coaching, reframing, and conversational reframing and coaching, it's a huge, powerful topic, and we do use word conversational because when it's done really professional, the client practically don't even perceive that reframing took place. It's done in a very easy conversational manner. And many years ago, one of the authorities in NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, Robert Dilts, he published a book. Actually, he published multiple books. He has a book, Beliefs, and but I use, for this particular set of webinars, I use Sleight of Mouse. Yeah, so that's one of his books. And if you have this book, please take a look, because you will find lots of additional material for what we are just covering. So we are going pretty much through that in accordance to Sleight of Mouse set of techniques and tools. So as usual in our procedure, please make sure that you will not be disturbed during this particular hour. So switch off your mobile phone and please do everything what is necessary just for you to stay focused. And as usual, I also mentioned that Headway Learning and Practice Lab, that's a place where you are now. And I started those webinars approximately 2 months ago, but officially Headway Learning Practice Lab will start working from 1st of September. And soon I'm going to be doing like a big announcements. And the next Thursday, I think I will spend chunk of my time explaining how Headway Learning Practice Lab will really be functioning. Please pay attention to that, because you could benefit a lot if you join, you're already in that lab, and you could still remain in that kind of easy, light version which you are participating now. It's totally free and always will be free. But there will be some other options where you could, I would say, go deeper, or will get additional support, or you could participate also not just in the coaching growth, but also in the business developing direction. So there are lots of different options will be available, and I will explain next Thursday, and I will make announcement. Please pay attention to your emails. And even there are free versions, and there will be some paid ones. But one thing I would like to say for sure, that it will be very affordable monthly subscription type of payment. yeah, approximately 30 pounds or something per month. I mean, it's not as dramatic as you are taking some huge courses, but you will have access to practically to the whole database, to the whole archives, and business and coaching growth direction, and you're going to have support, weekly webinars, and join Trello board, and I will be working with you practically personally. So that's, I think, the idea is to provide as much value as possible for as affordable price as possible. So that's the idea of that Headway Learning Practice Lab. Please pay attention to that. Well, today we are going to be going through belief change cycle, natural cycle. So I will explain why we call it natural. I will give you example how to implement and use that belief change cycle. Actually, that cycle is really powerful, I would say powerful set of steps, and I would recommend you to pay attention to that set of steps, because you can really use that particular belief change cycle for your business coaching direction. So if you are targeting certain particular clientele which has particular set of problems, and you are developing I would say programs or products or some type of service which your clients will be perceiving as a product, because I think it's a very important, it's essential kind of and very important step to be successful in coaching business. Not to try to sell coaching hours, but try to sell the solution which your target audience are looking for, and that solution ideally would be nicely to pack in some kind of product-like shape. So when you will be developing that model or explaining to your potential clients what the process is going to be all about, it's very useful to use certain particular models. And that belief change cycle model is one of the things which I use again and again when I'm developing my products. Because eventually, guys, it's all about change. Eventually, your client starts from some kind of problematic zone or set of limiting beliefs, and he wants to arrive to the desired state or zone where he has already multiple options and his belief set already kind of reframed. So it's all in a total correspondence with a belief change cycle. So why not to develop your program for your particular clientele already using some models which already exist and they are well developed? The only thing you need to do is to accommodate it, redesign it a little bit for your particular clientele. So using some, a little bit different terminology, using keywords which will be resonating for your client. I mean, it easily can be done as soon as you are clear about your business model and about your target audience. But if you learn and kind of clear about natural business change cycle, you could easily use it for your particular coaching business direction, yeah? In order to create and develop your own product. Guys, does it make sense what I'm saying? Could you please confirm that so far it's clear? If you have any questions, you are more than welcome to ask. I just want to make sure that you are with me. You haven't left the room and just completely kind of already lost attention. So if you please type that so far what I explained does make sense. You could type yes or okay, perfect, clear. Monica, thank you very much. Aaron, okay, great. Oh, okay, perfect. And we also will be covering today, at least, guys, we have just 1 hour. So if in any particular, I would say topic or subtopic which you see right now on the screen, I could talk for hours, yeah? So we'll be going more or less quickly through all those points. And one of the points we will be touching is the internal states, because they are in a very natural way connected with beliefs. And I will explain you. Actually, we already used those states. Maybe you're not aware of that. So we'll be going back to material which you already covered. I will demonstrate where those internal states are and how you can access, how you can determine, how you can monitor and influence your internal states. Your or your client's internal states. Of course, it's the same thing. I mean, yeah. Well, I will be referring to your all the time, but what we're actually talking about is if you know the methodology, you will be, with the same success, you will be doing it with your clients. Yeah? So, monitoring, changing, influencing internal states, which are very much in a deep level connected with beliefs. Yeah? And the last thing we will be covering today, I hope so, we will, it's a consequence reframing pattern. So let's jump into material. And in order to accelerate the process, again, I will not be going through the standard questions, but I do remember that you probably already many times experienced it. So I suppose to ask you, what do you know, for example, about belief change cycles or about consequence pattern? If you know something, we're going to skip that. Yeah. So what is your resourceful state for today? We've done it already. And why you are interested in that topic, and what is your plan, how you're going to practice it. So those 4 questions, that's a classical way how you usually working with your audience. And if you will be running your webinars and your online kind of training or sessions, I would highly advise you to go through your audience. It's going to take literally a few minutes, but your audience will be kind of warmed up already, and they will be much more perceptive receptive, for all of the information that you will be providing, because asking those questions, you set up certain particular kind of mood already. Yeah? But in this case, we're going to skip it. Yeah? So briefly, we know that beliefs are about causation, they are about meaning, and they are about boundaries which we see around us. Boundaries could relate to our internal kind of capabilities, behaviors, whatever, or external circumstances, or about other people. Yeah, so beliefs are all over the place and everywhere, and we need just to train our ears. As soon as we hear some parts related to causation or meaning or boundaries, our ears supposed to be like a dog, like ops, and they are up. So we need to pay special attention to those beliefs which, we smell, I would say, as those beliefs have some limitations. Yeah? We also covered that, there is an internal structure which we are looking forward to elicit. It's a causation, yeah, cause effect, or meaning. So there are certain particular questions we could ask in order to elicit those causational parts and meaning parts. One of the questions is, how do you know that? Or another question, what causes that to be that way? So whatever your client says, usually client give you some piece of information, you feel that it's already some kind of limitation, and then you ask those questions. You could ask multiple times those questions, and you will be almost like, you have a end of the rope, yeah, and you start pulling it, pulling, and asking those questions multiple times, you could elicit lots of additional information. Another thing we also discussed in the previous webinars is what kind of limiting beliefs really exist. Is there any kind of hierarchy of limiting beliefs? So there is a hierarchy, and mainly it belongs to 3 major groups. We already covered that. The groups are hopeless, helpless, and worthless. So the worthless is the highest in terms of like a more difficult one to handle, and it belongs to identity level. And then hopeless comes a little bit lower, like beliefs and values and criteria kind of area. And the area which, like the lowest one, it's a helpless. Yeah, people need some help in the area of capabilities, maybe behaviors, modification of behaviors, or sometimes in just circumstances. Yeah. So those are 3 major limiting beliefs. We also covered some procedural ways how we could, for example, ask 5 questions and already determine where limiting beliefs are. So guys, I'm jumping right now through material which we already covered, because I just want you to have a big picture. All that stuff you really can use in the coaching sessions. In every coaching session, I'm asking those 5 questions because it's going to take literally 3-4 minutes. I use connectives. It's another way how you could elicit beliefs. Yeah. You could ask multiple questions, and you see that we are using lots of connectives words in order to elicit the cluster of beliefs. So in order to get that information, if you are interested to, if you missed that particular part of our training, you could always get back to our YouTube channel and you could check previous webinars. Yeah. So right now, let's move forward because that particular part already covered. The last seminar which we used, that was in relation to chaining technique, how you can change beliefs. And that's what you see right now on your screen. We used 4 steps process, yeah, in order to change beliefs using chaining techniques. Yeah? So that's where we stopped. And again, that chaining process, actually, it is part of the why it's designed in such a way, why it has some kind of continuity, yeah? And we are designing the process in such a way that we are bridging the gap between the first particular belief. If you remember, we are asking, first of all, we are defining what kind of belief, current belief our client has. Then we are asking questions, what kind of belief he wants to have. Yeah, that's one. And then we create the whole process in order to step by step move our client forward from where he was to where he would like to be. And it does require some particular instruments. If you remember here, in that particular gap, we used positive intention reframing pattern. And in this particular gap, we used redefine pattern. Guys, if you don't remember what those patterns are all about, don't worry. We will be practicing a lot. From 1st of September, our practice Headway Learn and Practice Lab will be working in full power, and you will see that you have opportunity to practice it, to have partners, to have discussions. So you will be, I would say, you have opportunity to dive a little bit more into the regular practice, because that's the only way how you could be completely fluent and natural with all those tools which right now we are just covering. So of course it's not enough just to hear me and maybe even to kind of try to practice it here for once. That's exactly what pissed me off when I was going through my coaching and NLP practice, because we practice something once and after that we consider it, it's considered that we know the material. No, well, in my mind, to know material, I need to practice, I need to do it 100 times, not once, not twice. So that's in my understanding. And yeah, that's the whole idea why I even created the Headway coaching group in the first place. It's like a place where we could practice. And now, Headway Lab is gonna allow you to do that in full power. Okay, so now that's a topic which we covered last time. And as you can see, the process has like a tiny, small, natural movement from where client is to where we are, moving him, yeah, where he would like to be, moving him into the desired state. Actually, what happens here is that we are, I would say, modeling the natural process, because in a normal situation, let me just remove all the, because I see I cannot really, let me remove clear all drawings. Okay, because somehow, okay, now it works. All right, so let's move into the explanation what the natural process would be. First of all, please take a look at your screen, and changed a little bit some particular words, and in order for you to see the same process from a little bit different angle. As you can see at the top, so we had first of all problem-related states, yeah? And second is that we are moving our client towards the final state. Why I'm talking about states? Because states are very much related and very deeply connected with the beliefs. And for us to move our client successfully, we're supposed to pay attention what kind of states our client is. Yeah? So when our client is talking about problematic areas, we're supposed to have a certain particular tools and have a skill to determine and to maybe not measure, but find the way how to describe the state he is in. And there are multiple ways how we could do that. So first of all, let's discuss the whole process. There is a problematic state, yeah, as you can see here, it's total in a total correspondence with that particular first rectangular. Yeah? So as a result, our client feel something negative. It could be statement, it could be certain particular belief. Anyway, there is a negativity there, and I'm sure that if you use certain particular tools to elicit the parameters of his state, you will see that there is a negativity kind of domination there. What we are looking forward to have is to have a totally positive, yeah, in the end. It will be positive statement or beliefs, and the desired state, of course, supposed to be totally reframed, and it's already positive. So states and belief changing process, that particular cycle, they go hand in hand. Yeah? And what we are creating transition steps or transition states between. Yeah. And let me show you one more. Let me clear first of all our drawings. I'm gonna show you. Somehow sometimes my drawing. Okay, let me just in this case just close it because. So, all right. Yeah. Okay. So please pay attention to the lower part of the screen. I deliberately created states, or at least some indication of certain particular states, which has a direct correspondence with the steps which we follow, that chaining technique or change cycle. Yeah? As you can see, in reality, when you are talking with your client and discussing his particular states, there could be some variations. This is just example. For example, in the beginning, he could feel frustration. That's one of the pure negative states, yeah, he could be. When he is talking about limiting beliefs or some kind of problems which he is in, it's quite natural to feel some negative feelings, yeah? And or the description of the state could be that it's a frustration. Yeah? For some other clients, maybe it will be different, word. But right now, I'm using just example. Yeah? So what we are looking forward to have as a result, maybe after working with my client, he defined that actually what I would like to be motivated. I would like to be excited. I would like to be in a state of motivation. Yeah? So they see that the second let me annotate again. So the last state which our client maybe described is going to be motivation. That was the first one. So through the chaining process, in order to make a natural step-by-step process, after discussing with my client, we could come up with the states which are between. As you can see, from frustration to confusion, there is a difference, yeah, but it's so much closer and see that there are some kind of areas, please pay attention, that practically overlapping. Because if later we will discuss what kind of techniques do you have in order to describe those states. Yeah, you will discover that there will be some overlapping, some parameters, though for those two states will be the same. Yeah. So confusion and frustration in terms of description of the state, we're going to have some similar parameters. Those are similar parameters. They are here in the overlapping area. Frustration, from frustration to confusion. Guys, tell me please, is it a step forward? Is it a step into the positive zone? From frustration to confusion? Yes, okay, perfect. Svetlana, great. Any other opinions, Monica? Okay, perfect. And let's say after description, after discussion with my client, he wants to transform and move from confusion to curiosity. If you remember, maybe last example, I was working with Osama, and yeah, we moved him like using the positive intention reframing pattern. We moved his pure negative statement or beliefs when he said that I'm totally like a helpless, and my hands are tight, and I don't know what to do, and so on, so on. Yeah, I have a fear of whatever, some insects and cockroaches, whatever. So that was a pure negative statement. And then we introduced the working through the using some positive intention. We moved into the kind of different statement when he said that, yeah, I mean, because of my mother intention to keep kitchen clean, I was brought up to have certain particular attitude. Well, it's already not a pure negative statement, so we moved into the neutral zone. Maybe if I would ask Osama what kind of feeling does he have, how he would be describing his state, maybe he would not come up with a confusion. Maybe he would come up with something else, but I'm 100% sure it will be something which is not pure negative anymore, because the second statement was already closer to the neutral. And if you remember, Osama wanted to have, as a result, be kind of neutral towards those insects. So it's not like he wants to be overexcited or super motivated even. So as a result, yeah, maybe if we would work through the state-related kind of description, maybe the title of the state for Osama would be different. But in this particular examples, it's frustration, confusion, curiosity, and eventually motivation. So when you will be working with your client, do you remember with Osama, for example, I was asking him, well, how would you describe what do you feel? And Osama immediately moved into the kind of description of tension in certain particular area of his, of his body, and so on, so on. So you see that there are ways how you can describe and chunk down some particular states. So states has a way to be described, to be by using certain particular frames. Yeah, there are three major methods which we use in order to describe states and work with our clients using those descriptions. Yeah. So guys, any ideas what those three methods are? I'm just curious. Let me see. If you have some ideas, could you please type? Let me just remove again that annotation thing. I always need to remember remove our and clear our drawings, because the drawings are staying here. If you don't remember, it's okay, because we are going to get back to that. There are three major methods which we use in order to describe states in order to work with our clients and in order to influence those states. And if you don't remember right now, it's totally fine. We will get to that. Right now, I just want to read you some kind of one paragraph from that Sleight of Mouse, Robert Dill's book, how he described the natural belief change cycle. Yeah? And he's using metaphor, like practically he's comparing beliefs with some plants, I would say, when we are using in agriculture, for example, if we are if you plant some plants in the spring, and what happens next. So please, I'm going to just spend a few minutes reading the book. I think it's very nicely said, and I couldn't say even better. Yeah. So the natural cycle of belief change can be linked to the changing of the seasons. Yeah. A new belief is like a seed that becomes plant in the spring. The seed grows into the summer where it matures, becomes strong, and it takes root. During the process of its growth, the seed must at times compete for survival with other plants or weeds that may already be growing in the garden. And to successfully accomplish this, the new seed may require the assistance of the gardener in order to help fertilize it or provide protection from the weeds. Like crops, in the autumn, the belief eventually serves its purpose and begins to become outdated. The fruits of the belief, however, the positive intention, for example, and purpose behind it, are retained or harvested and separated from the parts that are no longer necessary. And finally, in the winter, the parts of the belief which are no longer needed are let go of and fade away, allowing the cycle to begin again. So that's how Robert Dills described the natural belief change cycle. And maybe we don't realize, but during our lifetimes, we are changing and shifting, and literally, we are creating those cycles maybe hundreds of times. From childhood to our kind of already adult life, we get rid of hundreds of beliefs, starting from being in young age. Can I ride bicycle, or can I do that, or can I run that fast, or can I? There are hundreds of things which we believe and then we don't. Yeah. Usually we don't even realize that, but there is a natural cycle. And what happens? Why is the problem usually occur? That probably the difficulty is that when we consciously attempt to change our beliefs, we do it in such a way that does not respect that particular natural cycle of change. So what we usually do, we try to change our beliefs by, I don't know, like repressing them, or disproving them, or attacking them. And belief, in a way, if you are following some natural cycle, beliefs can be surprisingly simple and easy to change if we respect and pace the natural process of belief change. So what is that process? Well, let's go through that process more in the details. Yeah. Somehow my computer a little bit slow. I hope you can hear me. Yeah, leading, pacing, leading, anchoring. Yeah. Okay, great, Ren. So right now let's take a look at 6 particular elements in that natural belief change cycle. So first of all, wanting to believe. What does it mean, wanting to believe? Yeah. Guys, I would like you to type few words. What do you think that particular step of belief change cycle is all about? wanting to believe. I'm sure you could kind of guess with a high probability what it really is, just based on the title itself. But I just want you to participate and be with me, not just me talking, but somehow to be in the process of learning. So what do you think that wanting to believe stage of natural belief change is? Any ideas? I'll give you 1 minute for type. Labeling. Well, okay, yeah, labeling. It's still quite. It is quite. I would say multi-meaning type of statement, because we could label many things. We could label our new belief, we could label our outdated belief, we could label maybe something else. Well, labeling, it just, I would say, I guess I understand what you mean, Svetlana, by labeling. I would say maybe what you mean is like to become aware about, about the whole kind of intention, about the thing which we would like to believe, or maybe about also the belief which we currently have. So that's what probably you mean by labeling. A relationship with the outside world. Okay, okay. Any more ideas, guys? Erika, Irene, Monica, Asama, welcome to the classroom. Right now we are discussing the natural cycle of belief change. And my question is, what do you think wanting to believe? All right, so, well, wanting to believe actually has to do with our expectations and our motivation for establishing new belief. Yeah. So when we want to believe something, it's usually because we think that the new belief will produce positive consequences in our lives. Yeah. Do you remember in our example in the previous session was when we worked with Asama, and the idea was that we discussed first of all what he currently believes, and then my first question was actually what would you like to have instead. So what we were looking for at that particular stage, that was stage number 1, is to formulate the new belief because we think that new belief will produce positive consequences. It will move us out of of the state or problematic zone where we are, and we will be able to arrive into the desired zone. In our example with Asama, the desired kind of state was state of neutrality towards some particular insects. Yeah, he doesn't want to have any kind of fear or whatever. So that's, I'm giving you as example, yeah, of previous sessions. So wanting to believe, that's a first stage. We are formulating the new belief, and we are quite kind of motivated to see, and we are in the expectation kind of type of state. Yeah. So that's also together with that particular part which belongs to wanting to believe. There is another part. At the same time, we have it also involves some kind of acknowledgement that we do not have yet belief in it. If you remember that when we are formulating that new belief, somehow it's somewhere detached, it's somewhere else. There is a huge gap. We know that we don't really believe in yet, yeah, but we already formulated it. That's going to be about wanting to believe, step number 1 or stage number 1. Guys, when your client comes to your session, when you start working with them, when he formulated certain particular problem. Yeah. So I told you, and I told to all my students, and that's what I'm preaching again and again. So we are not jumping to move our client forward, not yet. We would like to investigate, we would like to pace, exactly as uh, Irena just said, yeah, pacing. First stage is pacing, be with that problematic zone. But it doesn't stop us from formulating already where the client wants to be. I mean, we are not moving client yet, but it's nice sometimes, you know, like, because when we are diving too deep into the problematic zone, we could always be kind of, yeah, what could happen that you don't even see anymore where you would like to go. Yeah. So I usually, in order to kind of to shake a little bit that initial kind of heaviness, sometimes I ask, in the middle of that exploration, sometimes I ask my client, well, okay, I understand, yeah, we will discuss even more, you know, what that problem is and how everything here kind of interrelated, but tell me please, if right now, if you would jump out of that particular zone, how you would formulate, you know, the place where you would like to be. And on that kind of contrast, the client usually come up with a very interesting descriptions. And I find it very useful to jump in and out, yeah, in order not to get too much stuck, you know, in that problematic zone. So after that question, please formulate the desired state, desired kind of belief or desired uh, zone which you would like to arrive, and then we can get back and continue to explore the problematic zone. Yeah? So the acknowledgement of the fact, yeah, comes together. So after that, what we do is that we are moving our client into the second stage of natural belief, is becoming open to believe. What does it really mean? Any ideas? Guys, what could it be in the stage 2? What does it mean becoming open? Why he becomes open? I'm talking about your client. What happens? What kind of metamorphosis is taking place? So I would like you guys not to be kind of totally passive, and please don't afraid to type something which maybe is not correct, because I'm not even expecting you to say precisely, because maybe you're not, you hear this material for the first time. I just want you to participate, to try. For example, imagine that you are creating the model. It's this, what right now we are talking about is the model of change. Yeah. So that model can be used, you can use that model in the future when you are developing your own programs, your own kind of solutions for your particular clientele. So it's nice to brainstorm here. When you move your client from, you know, wanting to believe to becoming open to believe, what happens? Yeah. Svetlana, open-minded, need for change. Okay, open-minded. Yeah, the same. Perfect. Eren, stronger motivation. He's willing to change. Okay, perfect. I like what you typed, guys. Thank you very much for effort. So becoming open to believe, it's actually quite exciting, you know, process. And it's already different experience, because when we are open to believe, we are not yet convinced 100% that the new belief is completely valid, but we are gathering evidences, yeah, which could start already to support. So as a result, we start to create kind of tangible foundation for that. If you remember in the first stage, for example, I asked Osama, what would be the belief you would like to have? He said, yeah, I would like to have completely neutral, that I'm totally okay with those insects. You know, what does it mean neutral? You know, he could take, you know, them in his hands, for example. Neutral is have no fear. Yeah, when you have no fear, you could just, yeah, act. Yeah, you could touch, you could take, you could drop, you could do whatever you want to do, because there is no fear there is no reactions, yeah, some kind of totally uncontrollable type of behavior. So one thing is to formulate it that I would like, I'm totally neutral and I'm totally okay, to deal with an insect. Another thing is start gathering information and start bringing some tangible elements into that. Yeah? And in our case, what we've been doing, I mean, after we working through the positive intention pattern, we actually worked through reframing techniques where our client could see that behind that particular reactions towards insects, the driving force was to keep the place clean. I mean, it's not like they're terrible. It's not. It's like it's very difficult already even to think about fear if we are talking about just to keep some place clean. Keeping place clean already not directly related to a reaction which we call fear. So somehow you see we are creating some kind of foundation which already opening broader, wider frame where not just fear but other options of behavior could fit in. Yeah, guys, does it make sense? What does it really mean? Yeah, ready to experiment. I like it, Svetlana. Precisely. Ready to experiment and willing to change and gathering kind of evidences and creating foundations. Yeah, and that it's all about new particular belief. Yeah. So far, you see that first we formulated that new belief. Second, according to that formulation, we are started to gathering some information, foundations, and like I start to motivate our client more and more based on that new statement. So that's what becoming open to belief stage is. It's a very natural one. Yeah? So what happens next is stage number 3. Currently believing. I am curious what, because that particular set of stages formulated by Robert Dilts, yeah, in his book, Sleight of Mouse. So what would you guess? If you haven't read the book, of course, what do you think? What is behind stage number 3? Currently believing. If you have any ideas, please type. If you have no ideas, please type, I have no idea, and it's totally fine. I just want you to be with me. I just want you to be inside of discussion. I want you to focus on that and think about that. And that's how learning takes place. Guys, the most important thing is not just kind of fade away and move your attention and focus elsewhere. Just be with me and type whatever comes into your mind. Where we are now. Okay, Erica, where we are probably now. Okay, good. Any other ideas? Svetlana, Asama, Monica, Irene? Okay, yeah, that's pretty much true. Guys, in the first 2 steps, we were talking about new desired state and new desired kind of belief. Now in the stage 3, we are shifting our attention to what we have now. Okay, we already formulated where we are going to be going, yeah? But now something which is we have now is started to resist maybe, and we become aware that actually, oops, we are still believing currently in that particular kind of way. Yeah? So we become aware because why? Because in that particular stage, usually what happens, people discover resistance. And then we start to pay, who is resisting? Why that resistance even take place? Well, why? Simple why. Because we are believing in something else. Still we are not in a desired state. We are still in different state. So now the number 3 step, where It's almost some kind of balance. We become aware of both sides, not just about future, but about currently, you know, kind of current beliefs or current state. So, as a result, currently believing is that when we believe something, whether it's possible or negative or whatever, empowering or limiting, we fully commit to that particular current reality. Yeah. So now we would like to act congruently, as if our new belief were true for us. And at that point, usually we have some resistance. Yeah. Frequently, we, after some first attempt to take a new belief, it comes into the conflict with existing one. And that's where that stage, currently believing. So the attempt is fully take on a new belief can frequently trigger or bring our some kind of conflicts and resistance. Yeah? In respect to other beliefs which we already have, yeah, and already established for the previous years. So that's a stage, kind of balanced stage 3. If you remember those 4 steps, I think it's more or less somewhere between second and third, somewhere there, like a middle stage, yeah, where we almost kind of balanced between future and past. Yeah. What happens next? We are moving our client into the fourth stage, becoming open to doubt. Why we are talking about doubt here? Doubt about what? Open to doubt regarding what? Guys, any ideas? What we are talking here in the stage 4? Why we have that particular title for stage 4, becoming open to doubt? Our values and beliefs, feeling discomfort. Okay, yeah, all right. Well, this is, I agree with you, there is a discomfort. 3-4 stage, that's somewhere we are going to have a conflict and we are kind of between. And so our old beliefs are holding us. Previous, current belief, yeah, exactly. Monica, of his belief, yeah, okay, perfect. Guys, totally correct. Becoming open to doubt, what we are referring here to our old belief. Now the balance is shifting, towards moving forward. It's the momentum already kind of, the process is gaining momentum. As a result, now the old belief become weaker. How it become weaker? We start seriously doubting it. So open to doubt, it's almost like a gathering information comes into the stage when we think that actually what I used to believe, it's not entirely true. We already look at that particular belief, which just recently were our actual reality. Now we look at it almost like on an outdated. In relation to the spring, summer, I think we are getting into the autumn part. Old belief getting outdated. That's in the way how we feel about it. We start to doubt it. It's not, we don't need it anymore. Yeah. So that's the step of number 4 stage. And the last stage 5, well, there is also 6 one, but I explained 6 is very special. Number 5 stage is that we take that particular old belief and put it into some kind of museum. So why we are talking in his book, Robert Iltz talking about museum, because he said that, well, when we stop believing something, we don't usually develop amnesia for that belief or forget that we used to believe it. Rather, the emotional and physiological effect that the belief produces within us that change dramatically. Yeah, we remember that we used to believe something, but know that it is no longer has any meaningful influence on our thoughts or behavior. It no longer fits to our criteria for our current reality. That's what museum is all about. So this is the stage number 5. And trust, it's very simple kind of particular stage when we are fully getting into the zone already. In many ways, kind of trust is the like a cornerstone of the natural process of belief change. Yeah, trust is related to real hope. You know, hope is kind of function, our belief that something is totally possible. We are already feeling trust, and trust is actually much stronger than hope. It's already, we are there, we arrived. Yeah, the new belief is totally take place. Yeah, it's already having roots. Yeah, so this is the natural belief change cycle. And I already showed you how we used when we went through the 4-state process. We chained in the beginning of this session. I showed you how we chained the 4-step chaining process to certain particular internal states. Yeah, do you remember I showed you this particular states? Yeah. Example: frustration moves to confusion, confusion moves to curiosity, curiosity finally moves to the motivation. So that's how we are chaining beliefs or states. And finally, the way, do you remember I asked you what kind of three particular methods do we have in order to describe our states, yeah, which we can use to define our client states and help them to move, you know, from problematic state, for example, to the desired one. So let's take a look what those 3 methods are. So taking an internal inventory of your or your client's neurological processes. So there are 3 major methods: physiology inventory, submodality inventory, or emotions inventory. So that's what, if you remember, I use just one particular kind of simple way to, when I asked Osama in the previous session, I asked them, how do you feel in any particular spot? Do you remember we were making steps towards the new belief? Yeah. And I asked him, you know, how would you describe your state? So I was in the coaching session, we are not really teaching people, we are asking to use their particular language. And Osama used kind of physiology description. There was some kind of heaviness in certain particular area, and so on and so on. What we can do, we could move and add submodality inventory. We could ask, okay, let's say Osama, I could ask him, that particular heaviness and tensions which you have, you know, in the area of like between neck and heart somewhere. I mean, if it would have a color, what color would it be? So I would move into the submodality, for example, already. I could also ask him, if you would say that, if you would, for example, describe what kind of emotion do you feel when you are in that first point, yeah, when you have that limiting belief. So as a result, I could work with my client defining more parameters in the areas, or creating some kind of inventory, yeah. Inventory, physiology related, submodality, or emotions. Okay, Erica, yep, sure. I see that we already over time. We are going to finish very soon, literally in 2-3 minutes. Obviously, we were able to cover the whole natural belief change cycle, but consequence reframing pattern. So we are going to continue next webinar then. But in terms of, let's do maybe 2 more minutes. When we talk about physiology, guys, what comes to your mind? What kind of parameters we would be talking about or asking your client certain particular questions in order to move into the physiology inventory, what comes to your mind? What kind of things are related to physiology? Could you please type? I'm going to give you 1 more minute. I want you to type about physiology inventory or submodality inventory and emotions inventory. Let's do physiology. At least what comes, body temperature. Okay. How do you feel in your body when you talk about that? How do you feel? Yeah, well, it could come already to certain particular feelings. It could be physiology. It depends on what our client feel. Yeah, well, he could go for emotions. He could go for anything. So when we're talking about physiology, usually it could be body posture. It could be some gestures. Yeah, of course. When we are talking about our work as a coaches through Skype, maybe we are not able to spot that unless we are, of course, using some videos. But gestures, body language, eye position, breathing, some movement patterns, everything what person does with his body. Yeah, so that's what usually we talk about certain particular physiology. When we talk about body temperature also could be. When we talk about submodalities, guys, what comes to your mind? What kind of things we will be eliciting if we are talking about submodalities? Usually submodalities related to internal sensory experience. Yeah. For example, when we talk about, we could ask our client, well, when you describe certain particular kind of situation, yeah, do you see any picture, or maybe you hear something, or if you hear, please describe what kind of sound. Is it loud? Is it, quiet? The color or brightness or the size or position of the picture or mental images, or the tone of the sound, or volume or location of voices or sounds. I mean, texture, or if it's kinesthetic areas. So all that stuff related to submodalities. Yeah. So we could ask lots of questions to our clients, and as a result, that's going to be the set of parameters how we could define their current state. And when we will be moving our clients towards the final destination, we will be playing with those parameters. Yeah, we will be changing them, we will be improving them. So you need to kind of use that particular tools, like 3 major methods, how we usually define the state of our clients. Yeah? Okay, guys, I don't want to hold you any more longer. Next week, we will be going through the consequence reframing pattern. And in terms of today's topic, I think more or less, I hope it's clear what natural belief change cycle is. Could you please confirm that it is clear? And if you have any questions, of course, you could ask. And of course, I will send you the whole presentation. You can take a look. So we moved today through natural belief change pattern. I will show you implementation of the change pattern. We discuss internal states. The only thing we haven't covered is consequence reframing pattern, but it will actually naturally will be going out of that topic. But I will continue next Thursday. Clear? Okay, perfect, Irene. Clear, very much. Okay, great. Guys, thank you very much for your time. And please pay attention next Thursday. I will be opening our Headway Learning and Practice Lab. So it will be kind of big event. Please try to be next Thursday here, because together with the consequence pattern, I will be describing you what actually kind of service you could dive into. And we could move forward, not just your coaching skills progress, but also business related progress as well, because Headway Lab has 2 different directions. actually 3 directions, but all the details I will describe in provide next Thursday. Great, thank you very much, everyone. Svetlana, Sama, Monica, Irene, see you next week. Bye-bye, everyone. Have a great week. Thank you. Bye.